You see, Mark Carney is a politician. He has to remain diplomatic and he has to skirt around the truth. Well, I don't. We are at economic war with the United States. They mean to take us. I ain't gonna lie to you. Shit is going to get hard. Cost of living is going to get more expensive. And Donald Trump is counting on weak Canadians to bring down our country. He's counted on that life is going to get so hard that we're going to be begging the United States to come trade with us. Many of you have never had to face a life like this, to struggle daily from day to day, because us in the Western society have been pampered and sheltered compared to the way the rest of the world has lived. And he's banking on that Canadians won't be able to handle a little bit of discomfort. But he's underestimating Canadians. This is a war, and who's going to win will depend on the people's actions. So buy Canadian and only Canadian. Withdraw and dump your stocks if you have any in the United States. And keep vigilant, because there will be propaganda designed to turn you against your own government because of the hardships that we face. But always remember, the hardships that we are going to face is the fault of Donald Trump directly attacking us economically. Not because of our prime minister. It is a direct attack from the United States. And you have to be clear about that and remember that. And if anybody out there that's a Canadian that starts to blame our government for our economic conditions, you better make sure and tell them what is what. Because it's going to be paramount that all of us spread education and unite under Canada, under Mark Carney, to see us through these times.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Just 8 days ago, Canada announced a new strategic partnership with China. We're back to step one of the tariff playbook. So Trump is now threatening Canada with 100% tariffs if Canada signs a trade deal with China, right? Let's watch this.
Mr. President, Prime Minister Carney is in China. How do you see the deals Canada and China have just signed, trade deals between the two partners?
Well, that's okay. That's what he should be doing. I mean, it's a good thing for him to sign a trade deal. If you can get a deal with China, you should do that.
8 days later, today, this man called Carney a governor. Now, do you want to see the most pivotal moment in Canada's history when it comes to being a colony of the United States? I'll show you.
Once a country yields its energy.
We have not
Once
done
a country yields its agriculture.
Wrong
Once
again.
a country opens itself up to a subsidy war with the United States
Wrong
on
again.
terms of definition, then the political ability of this country to sustain the influence of the United States to remain as an independent nation, that is lost forever, and that's the issue of this election.
Mr. Turner, I today, sir, as a Canadian, believe genuinely in what I am doing. I believe it is right for Canada. I believe that in my own modest way, I am nation building because I believe this benefits Canada and I love Canada.
We built a country, east and west and north. We built it on an infrastructure that deliberately resisted the continental pressure of the United States. For 120 years, we've done it. With one signature of a pen, you've reversed that, thrown us into the north-south influence of the United States, and will reduce us, I'm sure, to a colony of the United States, because when the economic levers go, the political independence is sure to follow.
That was a political campaign, by the way. That was a political debate. So the question now is, who do you think won that campaign? Whose political career do you think ended at that moment? That was a very pivotal moment. I actually saw that video and I downloaded it, not because of talking about Canada, because I was trying to prove a point in how the gentleman whose political career, that Mr. Turner guy, his political career died after that. It never came back. But he was talking about things that I'm talking about. Building infrastructure. Once you give up sovereignty of your nation to another nation, it's over.
Honestly, that video really did change Canada's trajectory right there. And that man was speaking facts, but now we're seeing it like who knows how many years later.
America driving its own biggest trade partner effectively by force into the hands of its biggest economic competition is truly incredible to watch. Canada just made a massive trade deal with China and slashed a whole bunch of their tariffs on China, which is a real break from the US, which basically put tariffs on Canada to dissuade them from doing this exact thing. The fact that the deal lets Canada import thousands of Chinese EVs alone is a massive upset to America's forced economic hegemony, and that's just one part of it. Every time something like this happens, it's a real reminder that even as America is flexing its unparalleled military superiority all around the world in increasingly haphazard ways, like, the foundation is crumbling, and it will inevitably crumble. There is polling out there that literally shows that America is currently less popular in Canada than China. Do you understand how monumental that is? What Donald Trump is doing to our alliances inevitably is going to lead to the isolation of America on the global stage. And if you know anything about how America has hidden its empire for the past 75 years, you know how important that all is. Donald Trump is trying to bring back the Monroe Doctrine, where America is going to dominate the entire Western Hemisphere, but literally America's most important economic partnership in this hemisphere is crumbling, and it's because of Donald Trump.
Canada needed allies around the world because you can't trust America. I don't understand why Trump has this weird disdain for Canada, because in the past he's said so many positive things about it. But mind you, this was like a long time ago.
And I support anything having to do with Canada because I think they've been one hell of a good ally.
Do you do any business in Canada?
I do a little bit of business with Canada, and the Canadian people are wonderful people, and they're with us 100%.
So what changed from this type of Trump? Did a Canadian not say sorry to Trump that made him change his mind? Like, what happened?
There are a lot of people in this country who support this guy, who will wake up this morning, point their fingers and blame Mark Carney because Donald Trump has yet again threatened Canada with 100% tariffs, allegedly for the fact that we have reopened trade negotiations with China. But this has nothing to do with trade with China, because the United States has over $500 billion in value in trade with China. In fact, the United States is dependent on China for critical minerals, so it is not withdrawing trade from China. What really has taken place is two things. First of all is that Davos, Mark Carney stole the global spotlight. And I think what he did was he provided a contrast between what great global leadership should look like and what bumbling and fumbling and idiotic leadership actually is. And that's why Donald Trump's really upset. He's having an infantile temper tantrum and taking it out on Canada. The second reason is because this is the dominant view within the administration, which is that they have the mightiest military in the world and they have the right to dominate all of the Americas. They want to effectively make all of Canada and all of South America the vassal economic slaves of the United States. There are choices to be made, and there are some people in this country who would rather choose to be part of the 51st state, even though Donald Trump has been insulting NATO soldiers and good Canadian soldiers and good Canadian families whose children and sons and daughters lost their lives defending the United States. There are people in this country who would rather be part of the United States than be part of Canada. And it is my view that I would rather be poor and free than be a slave. But I think someone else said it really better, and this guy, I think, has ultimately got it right.
If PP, or Paul Poilievre, had been Prime Minister, Canada would have been US state right now. This is why Carney is trusted and supported by the majority of Canadians and the majority of NATO countries right now.
Guys, this is massive and breaking news. Donald Trump just threatened Canada with 100% tariffs over the trade deal with China. And for the first time ever, he called him Governor Carney. This is exactly what I said would happen. America is not going to tolerate this. They see right through it. Donald Trump and his administration, they don't want these Chinese EVs that are going to be coming into the country, then making their way into the US. Remember this, guys. Mark Carney was elected on the sole promise that he would have his elbows up and he would negotiate a win with Donald Trump. Donald Trump calling him Governor Carney shows an epic failure of this campaign promise, that he clearly is not the person to be in charge, to be doing a trade deal with our number one partner. Did you know that nearly 71% of all of our GDP, 71% of all items and exports are exported to the United States? You can't make that up with China, no matter how hard we try. We're talking about maybe in 40 to 50 years, but it's not going to happen within the next 1 to 2 years. And we do not want to lose our number one ally, our number one trade partner, and we need to make sure those relationships are stronger than ever. This is terrible news for Canada.
You want us to make a deal with Trump when Trump doesn't want to make a deal with us. When it comes at the cost of us Canadians, that's the person you want us to be making deals with. Obviously, Carney tried, and when it didn't work, he had to look elsewhere. Secondly, let's go and debunk these other theories. So Trump thinks that we're going to bring EVs from Canada and then we're going to funnel them through into America. But yet there's a big Chinese EV manufacturing plant in Mexico. Why is no one talking about that? Why are we acting like that doesn't exist by JAC and BYD? He ain't worried about those being funneled from Mexico into America, but apparently it's wrong for us to be able to get some cheap EVs out here. Secondly, if this content creator even took some time to listen, Scott Bassett today spoke and said that if Canada pursues a free trade agreement with China, they will put 100% tariff. We did not pursue a free trade agreement with China. Like, how unpatriotic can you be that you're so quick to sell out your own government and not even trust in the things that they're trying to do for the people here? Trump makes a deal with China, it's fine. Canada can't. Like, make that make sense. We need to stop bending down for the US. Carney is standing up for Canadians. As a conservative, I'm changing my opinion about Carney in a positive way. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are with the 100% tariff. Leave your comments and thoughts down below. Now, if it's your first time to the channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the small channel out. Also, check out this video. I'm pretty sure you're definitely going to enjoy it. Nevertheless, I will see you guys when I see you. Peace.